I have a question. What's something that you learned embarrassingly late in life?
Ooh.
And okay.
You first.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's my question. I'll start. It's fine. I didn't realize that you need to water a tree. And let me clarify this. It's not a baby tree. This is not a young tree. This is a very old tree, like a well-established tall tree that's in our front yard. And then I had a neighbor who was like, oh yeah, you need to water it. And I like looked at him and I was just dumbfounded. I was like, I honestly thought it was a prank or a joke. I was like, water a tree? Why would I water a tree? I honestly never knew that until like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest.
A tree.
I don't think I knew that either. However.
Okay, thank you. All right, good.
I'll expose myself. It feels like there should be enough rain to do that, but I guess if it doesn't need it, but I think perhaps something that I didn't know till later in life is that this is an all new episode of For the Love of Sport.
Oh, come on. And then there's the music. There's the music.
Hey, well, I think the lesson here that we're going to take away is that much like trees, we as humans need to be tended for and taken care of.
Hey.
Even when you think you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be
even when you think like,
yourself.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, no, that's good.
I'm old enough.
A lot. Yeah.
I don't need to be taken care of. You do.
Fruits, vegetables, I'm walking around. I'm living. I'm breathing.
You gotta take some time for yourself today. That's the message. That's
well
the
done.
message for everyone.
What a tie back.
I mean,
me?
Wow. I feel like we should just cut our losses here and bring on the
paying
guest.
for this?
What do you think? What do you think? Is there any more value we can really provide here? I'm not sure there is.
Book us today here at
Motivational speakers Simon and Marie will tell you how you're an old tree and you should be watered.
The t-shirts just say water the tree.
Water your trees.
Water your
Hashtag For the Love of Sport.
If honestly someone makes a shirt,
I'll wear it. I'll take it. But hey, we got Amobi on the podcast today.
Amobi
Anything
Okugo.
that we could possibly say about Amobi that could prepare our dear listener to get into this?
I mean, I think what we can talk about is how much we learned.
I know.
I don't want to set. The last thing we want to do is set wrong expectations, but we actually can hype this up. Where like there was so much that we weren't like aware of.
I actually remember this distinctly. What I learned in this podcast recording, I texted 3 different group chats afterwards, and I was like, did you guys know this? Like, was this information that you guys, and nobody else really knew? I mean, maybe a few people were like, yeah, maybe a little bit. So like, listener, buckle up. I think you're going to learn some things today. You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today. This is one of those things that I didn't just say like, I'm going to subscribe to your newsletter. Like any host does. I legit that day, like as soon as we were done, I went and subscribed immediately. And I hope you do too, because we had a fantastic conversation with Amobi.
We did. So I think without further ado, put your headphones, turn it up, go water your trees, and have a listen to Amobi.
All right, everybody, let's buckle in. Amobi Okugo is the founder and owner of Frugal Athlete. Frugal Athlete is an online financial media ecosystem that helps athletes make, manage, and multiply their money through financial education and athlete empowerment. Amobi is a former professional soccer player and was born and raised in California. He was a standout youth and college soccer player before being drafted by the Philadelphia Union in 2010. Since then, Okugo went on to have a successful career playing as a solid defensive midfielder and center back. He's played for Orlando City, Portland Timbers in the MLS, and Austin Bold SC in the USL to cap off an amazing 10-plus year career. Off the field, Amobi found his passion for giving back to the community and the sport of soccer. He runs youth camps and volunteers his time to various charities and nonprofits, along with his successful business endeavors. And on top of all that, he is a true sport athlete and ambassador. Now, let's not waste any other time here. Let's welcome Amobi Okugo. Thank you for joining the For the Love of Sport podcast.
No, thank you for having me. I definitely need that soundbite because that was one of the best intros I ever had. That was like, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, Marie?
Yeah. Oh, I heard you. Don't worry. I heard it. My headphones are working too. But seriously, Amobi, thanks for being here. It is a very impressive introduction for what will be, I'm sure, a very insightful and fun conversation today. So thanks for jumping on. We're super excited to talk to you.
No, this is going to be fun.
Well, let's dive in with, some really hard-hitting questions that our listeners absolutely could not see coming. Can you tell us about your youth sport experience?
Yeah, so my youth sport experience was quite the experience. Growing up, my parents didn't really know about like competitive soccer like that. So I just played for the local school team, both in soccer and basketball.
Oh, nice.
Well, funny enough, though, when I first started soccer, because of my Nigerian name, the kids and the parents didn't really know me. So they just threw me on to the B team. And the school B team ended up playing the school's A team, and we beat them pretty well. And then they wanted to have me join the A team, but my dad, being as prideful as he is, he was like, "Nope, y'all had him on the B team, so he's gonna stay on the B team, and we're gonna be good." And then the next following year, they did like a combined team where we took players from the A team and players from the B team. They just made one team. So that's how my soccer career started. Basketball was the same thing. They called it little dribblers.
Nice.
Just learning the basics of basketball. We had smaller hoops and stuff like that. But it wasn't until around fourth grade where a friend or a friend's parent on the team was like, "Yeah, your son is at a pretty high level and he should probably be playing like competitive soccer. And there's also competitive basketball, AAU." So I joined my teammates at the time because he was also playing AAU. So I joined his AAU basketball team. And then for soccer, I joined like the local competitive club team. And then that's when everything just clicked and changed.
Yeah. I always feel like I always like hearing stories, especially from people who have like made a career and become a professional athlete. Like not everyone, first of all, does that. Very few people can do that, but also from having the beginnings that, you kind of outline, where I think a lot of people today think my kid needs to be in a competitive program from age 5. And there's no way, if they're not doing that right away, that they're ever going to progress and get to the level that we want them to get to. And I think there are so many different paths that you can take, and it's totally dependent on the athlete and like your situation and where you come from. And, all of these different things that like, you're going to end up where you need to be eventually if you kind of stay the course and kind of follow through that. But it's always interesting to hear kind of those beginning stories from different athletes, especially yours. Very enlightening.
No, I love that you said that because, obviously, as we're all involved in the sport, specifically soccer, you see, young 5, 6, 7-year-olds already playing competitive. And it's like, they don't even know if they like the sport yet. You got a coach yelling, and it's like, no, they're just supposed to build skills, express their talent, and like, build balance and cognitive physical skills, because it doesn't really start, at least with soccer, maybe technical sports like gymnastics and other sports where it's like, you got to go right away. But soccer, basketball, it's like, you bring up a great point.
Yeah. I think my favorite story of that is Matt Turner on the U.S. men's national team. Like, he didn't even play soccer until he was in high school. Oh, yeah. He was like playing baseball. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, maybe I'll try goalie. And now he's like, plays for Arsenal and is one of the best goalies in the world. So it's just kind of crazy where your destiny and things kind of end up taking you.
No, you're exactly right. And I think the biggest point, I know we talked offline about it, is just the fact that you're able to play multiple sports, and each sport will help you in another arena of what you eventually choose. So baseball, hand-eye coordination, being a goalie, quick twitch muscles, like being able to get off your line, get off the bat, like reading different things that he's able to do now as a goalie. And like his progression is just been nothing short of amazing. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, love that. Would you say that in your youth sport experience, I think, at least for me in my own experience, once I did join more competitive teams, there is a certain, benefit or things you get out of a competitive environment or a competitive program versus maybe not. Were there any coaches for you that like really stood out or helped you either grow your game on the field or on the court, or even just like had life lessons that you kind of remember to this day or take with you to this day from your youth sport playing days?
Yeah, I think when I was 13, I had a club coach, and he really changed. I don't want to say that changed the trajectory of my career, but just changed how I think about my career in terms of like my development. And he had me juggle a tennis ball. And just that was the biggest thing in terms of like understanding my touch, understanding how important technique is, because, you know, being bigger, stronger, faster than everyone's going to catch up to you at some point, or you're going to meet someone that's just as big, just as strong, just as fast. But if you can think quicker, if you have better technique, if you understand the game and tactics and formation and different angles, you'll always have a step advantage, which was something I was pretty good at. So he like gave me a tennis ball and was like, yo, before and after every practice, you need to be juggling this. And just gave me an understanding of like tennis ball is like small. You got to pay attention to details. And that was kind of a game changer for me.
Did that also just like having around the house, like if you had like an apple, you just like, let's juggle this for a little bit. Like any little thing, you're just like seeing what you can juggle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, when you chew gum and you're about to throw it out, you try to like juggle a little bit and then throw it away or litter it, however you want to. Yeah.
No, it's that feel, that touch, that the tactile effort too is huge and makes a gigantic difference. You know, I wanted to ask too, and Moby, you're preaching to the choir over with Maria and I, because we both played soccer and basketball. Those were like our primary sports. I guess and forgive me if you already answered this too, but where did soccer win out? Like, when did that happen? What about soccer sort of just like you clicked in your head of, this is what I'm going to do now?
It was by force, man.
Oh,
I was trying to play both as long as I could. And if soccer and football didn't like align in the same high school season, I would have tried to play football. I mean, if my mom and dad let me, but I was playing flag football. I was pretty good at that, but tackle is a whole different story.
Yeah, that's true.
But I got invited to the residency program my sophomore year of high school. And it was essentially the U17 men's national team program where we spend 2 years at the IMG academies to compete for ultimately the U17 World Cup. So the top 40 under 17 boys go there. It's basically boarding school for soccer, travel the world, go to school, play soccer, compete. And that's when it was, you can't say no to that. I mean, you can, but you can't. And so basketball was just a recreational sport at that time. When I came back to finish my, senior year, I wanted to get back into basketball, but at that point, soccer had took over. I was missing school for youth national teams, training with, my club team and national team and older club. Soccer had taken over at that point. But if it was up to me, I think, play as many sports as possible as long as you can until one wins out.
I like that. I think when it comes to, I want to hear about the youth national team experience too, because that's such a unique experience to have, to be able to play at that high of a level. But you're also playing with, people that are going to potentially be pros too, but you got to be there when they were young. So I'm curious about that sort of experience and watching that grow and, keeping in touch with, players that you play with back in those days, but also about, finding your position. Was it always sort of, you were a primary defender, you were always kind of that central defensive mid, or did you get to play a wide variety of different roles until something fit?
No. So for me, it was center mid. But I started off as attacking and then somehow moved back to defensive. I think it was just because of my size and my ability to break up plays and stuff like that. But obviously, when you go to a residency program when you're playing with the top, you kind of got to get in and fit in and find out where you can provide the most value and go from there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Just to have that sort of like team first attitude of like, wherever they plug me in, I'm going to play and give my 100%. I like that.
Most definitely. And then as it pertains to like just that residency program and what it's about, it's like iron sharpens iron. So you're with the top 40 kids. And basically this was my schedule. Wake up at like 6, workout, 7 o'clock breakfast, 9 to 11 soccer practice, go back home, change, shower, 12 o'clock lunch, 1 to 5 school. And then after that, we'd have either like mental conditioning, a time for homework, or what kids do at that time, skip homework and go back to the field and play more soccer. So it was like, you're getting better. And if as y'all know, the cream rises to the top. And if you put yourself in situations where you have to grow or adapt or die, or, I think that really helped my development and took it to a whole nother level where we were basically pros before we eventually got paid to be pros.
Oh man, that entire schedule just exhausted me. Like you going through that, I am winded already.
Yeah. And this is with when we weren't doing that, we would probably be somewhere traveling. So even my first 2 weeks there, we orientation, bam, month trip to Argentina. So
Oh, casual. Just a casual trip.
We are. Yeah.
I'm sure that probably if you weren't already maturing and growing up fast, I'm sure traveling the world and doing all of that kind of on your own away from your family probably sped up that process a bit as well.
No, you're exactly right. You have to grow up quick and just to be able to experience different cultures and different ethnicities and different traditions and just different ways of life at that early age helped mold my mind in terms of how to embrace others' opinions, how to, work within a team, how to respect different, etiquettes and go from there. So you talk about Argentina, and one of the ways of endearment or greetings is the double cheek kiss. So we met someone that people were like, whoa, it's no, this is how they greet each other out here. So you gotta, learn and adjust and learn.
Love that. You kind of talked about too, as we were talking through your youth sports experience, about how, obviously you were put on the B team because when you came in, your name right away was something that not a lot of people were familiar with. And then you kind of just talked about it in your youth national team experience, being able to kind of explore, travel the world, see other countries and just, how other people live. Would you say that your experience growing up in California, being first generation Nigerian American, what was that experience like and how did that kind of help you along in your journey? And then I would say how does that, I do want to transition to kind of your post playing days. How does that kind of transition and help you in your roles now that you have?
No, that's such a great question. I think, growing up Nigerian American and there's always stories that you usually get teased, for your name or you bringing your lunch to school and people are like, what's that? What's that smell? And it's obviously now we're in a different climate where people are embracing different cultures and stuff like that. But growing up, it was, whatever. But for me, that helped me so much in terms of the way my parents brought me and my siblings up, just in terms of accountability, discipline, understanding our culture, our roots, what it means to be Nigerian American, really important as I continue to explore other countries, but then also embrace other people. Now that I'm taking it into business, so I used it to my benefit in sport. Now I'm taking it into business and it's been a blessing. So I wouldn't change anything from the world, the way I grew up, the experiences that I've had, because it's all led to what I'm doing or where I'm going in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to talk about, obviously, you, if anyone were to just go across your LinkedIn or Google you've got a lot of stuff going on. You're always, I was like, holy cow, he's a part of all these different things. You have your own business, you have your own foundation, you're a part of a lot of charities and nonprofits.
Yeah, we were writing your intro, and we were like, and then, and then, and then. So we had to try to have that flow just right.
No, it's totally true. So I want to give you the chance to, maybe we can touch on your foundation first, and then we can maybe talk about a Frugal Athlete and kind of what led you to that. I'm really curious about that in my own personal shortcomings. I would love for some tips and tricks from you. Not throwing myself under the bus here too much, but maybe we can start with your foundation first and foremost, if you want to talk to us about that a little bit.
Nah, most definitely. I think first and foremost, thank you for giving me the space to share all that I'm doing. I feel like my thing is if you can, why not do everything? If you can do everything, why not give it your all? So that's kind of my mantra. But the OK You Go Foundation, obviously, is a play on my last name. We want to help young kids, from underserved communities to realize the potential and opportunities that they have. So our biggest mission is excellence through exposure, access, opportunity, and impact. And the ways we do that is after school programs, educational workshops in the form of financial literacy and career development. And then sports is soccer. So we want to close the barriers to soccer. So we'll do like free clinics, free camps, different things like that. And so those are our main 3 pillars. But within that, we do some other stuff, maybe some like field trips, social programs, and different things like that. But that's kind of what we stand on. Really started because I would be doing community events. As a soccer player, we're required to do different community events, but it was more just like one-off appearances. You play with the kids one time, you never see them again. So I was like, I want to create something where it's like more longer standing or like more impact. And because my last name was Okugo, I was like, I need to do something with this. Like, okay, you go. Like God is telling me I got to do something with this. So
that was good.
I was like, why not start with the foundation? And our mission is to inspire people to go. Okay, you go, reach your highest level, be your best self, and these are the ways we're going to do it.
Love it. I'm so sort of, just impressed with that particular line of work of being able just to provide that opportunity for those kids, especially like camps and clinics and like high tier camps and clinics too, not just going to the park and playing, but like legit instruction. I think that's amazing. Can you talk about a Frugal Athlete and sort of the inception of that and what really drives that program too?
No, most definitely. So Frugal Athlete started out of my own curiosity. So I saw the 30 for 30 Broke documentary. I'm not sure if you all are both familiar with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a game changer for me.
You want to talk about for 30? We can spend the rest of the podcast doing that. We won't. We'll hang out afterwards. That's fine.
No, so it was like if these athletes, and I've been blessed, to be compensated at a pretty good level, but it wasn't NFL, NBA, MLB money. So the players that they're identifying in this Broke 30 for 30 documentary are, finding themselves in financial troubles for whatever reason. There's, lots of reasons that we don't need to get into for why athletes and individuals, it's not just an athlete problem, find themselves in financial duress. Where are the athletes that are doing it the right way, and how can I follow their footsteps? And so I was on a mission to like find those athletes, and you would get like the LeBron James, the Tom Brady's, the Serena Williams, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, of the world. And as much as we can learn from them and as great as they are, those are the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
So that's not the case for every professional athlete. You have niche professional athletes that have second jobs. You have athletes that know they're going to have to work after they're done playing. You have athletes that are on contract, like Olympians. So where can we find athletes on all levels, or create like a database of, people that we can learn from? So I did more research and found athletes that would fit the Broke documentary that I was trying to get away from. And as much as scare tactics work, it's not always ideal. So I took it upon myself to really start a Frugal Athlete. Start off as a blog. Once a week, I would write about an athlete that I felt exemplified what it means to be a Frugal Athlete, which is an athlete that is efficient with both their capital, the capital that they make monetarily, but also the career decisions that they make. So instead of, spending all their money going on vacation in the off season, it's like, all right, they spend money on going on vacation, but they also spend time to do an externship in the off season to learn about a passion that they may have. Or, these are ways that they have invested their money strategically to help set them up when they're maybe a free agent, or, so we talked about that originally, a once a week blog. And then from there, a mentor of mine challenged me to make it, he's like, yo, you have something here, make it into like a legit thing. And that's when I started the podcast, and then got the newsletter, and then YouTube videos. And now we're trying to do curriculums and all these different things that I have no business doing, but we've been pretty successful so far. Not as successful as obviously we can be, but it's been good because first and foremost, we're making impact. And it's been great to hear when people say, oh, like, yeah, I heard about you, or like, I saw that video you did, and like, that was really helpful. Yeah. But now it's like, all right, I need to keep the lights on. So
yeah, it's kind of amazing how this sort of how it can snowball so fast. Like you have an idea for something, and then out of nowhere, you're like, oh, this is now becoming a thing. And now now it's not even taking on a life of its own. It now means a lot to people, but it's started with passion, and it just kind of speaks to, that original idea and that original drive, and your work, especially of this is a good idea, and it's paid off now where you have, this wealth of knowledge that you're able to share with everybody. And it's indicative of how valuable that was. So congrats, man. It's really cool.
No, thank you.
I'm generally very curious about, like I said, exposing myself. I probably wasn't the best with like finances and money and all of that stuff. Not to say I'm a professional athlete making any type of money in that field, but I know it's going to be a shock to our listeners, but I am not in fact a professional athlete. But I am curious because I think it's a conversation, and you mentioned it like outside of just athletics, of like when we are growing up, like in our, whatever it is, public school, private school, whatever school you go to, I don't think there's like a really like financial literacy is not like a thing you really learn through the regular traditional like schooling system. At least I did not.
You learn by
like, oh shit,
I
don't have money because I'm spending it all on random things. And so it's super interesting to me that I think anytime you can like, of course, all of our niche in sports, and then we have a passion in sports. And so anytime you can kind of like tie something that's, not super well, like educated or documented, and then tie to sports, which is generally something people are like very interested in, and kind of put the two together. Like I can see why it's very popular and people are, interested in it. And then my second part of this is, do you work at all now with the increase in like NIL and helping younger athletes understand like what does that mean? How can you leverage that? How soon should I be paying attention? Are those all things that you through your business are helping people to understand?
Yeah, most definitely. Now with the advent of NIL, we definitely touch on that, especially like not only the ways you can make money outside of brand partnerships, but what you do when you get that money. Because a lot of times people don't understand the basic principles around money. They don't understand their emotions around money. They don't understand their behavior around money. So understanding that and getting that solid foundation will help them make more efficient decisions, have more leverage when it comes to, doing different opportunities, and then just having like more clarity, which leads to better financial stability.
Just for context too, I feel like we need to break down NIL and what those three letters are. Can you give us a 30-second just rundown of that, Amobi?
Yeah. So name, image, and likeness, NIL, it's on a 3-year anniversary where it gives the ability for athletes, student athletes specifically, to, make money with their name or their image or their likeness. So, whether it's licensing, whether it's doing an appearance fee, whether it's doing a brand partnership with a local company or a national company, you have student athletes that are making upwards of, $500 per social post or to $100,000 for a content campaign. And it's given the ability for student athletes to really take advantage of their name, image, and likeness. I think what gets lost in translation is that it's not only for the big schools or the quarterback or, the star track player and, from a big school. Like it gives anyone the opportunity. So while it's name, image, and likeness, you can also, liken it to taking advantage of the opportunity and leveraging your time as a student athlete. So, I use name, image, and likeness in multiple ways. I say network, intellectual property, and leverage. So how are you taking advantage of your network as a student athlete now that you can get into some more doors? How are you taking advantage of your intellectual property, like the ideas that you are able to create? These young kids now are really creative when it comes to social media and business ideas. So how can you take advantage of that? And then how do you leverage that? In what ways can you leverage it? As a collegiate athlete, you are in front of a community that can test your products, that you can use as market research, that you can build partnerships with. So how do you leverage that? There's nothing more important than the .edu, because you're not only talking to your current student that you are associated with, but all the alumni and all the people that love your school. So understanding name, image, and likeness, 2 different ways, obviously name, image, and likeness, but network, intellectual property, and leverage. And I'll make some content about that at some point.
We'll uncover that and link it in the show notes for this for sure. But
love it.
Yeah, I also like, I know we're running up on time a little bit here, but I did want to touch on a little bit. We like to, on this podcast, it's obviously great to, share, experiences and knowledge and things of that nature, but it's also great when there's like an action item or like a thing that people can learn or take from. And it sounds like, especially with a Frugal Athlete, you of course, share your experiences and learnings of the research you've done, but it sounds like are also giving people like actionable things that they can like take away into their lives and learn from. Is there anything that you would, obviously our podcast is geared more towards the youth sport experience. Is there anything that you could share with like a parent of a youth athlete or a coach or even someone running a youth sports organization that would be just beneficial for them to know and to pass on to younger athletes to kind of set them up for success?
Yeah, as it pertains to like Frugal Athlete, personal finance, or just in general?
Let's do both. Give us both.
Okay.
Both.
All right, perfect. All right, sounds good. You set me up. Perfect. So let's go Frugal Athlete first. So this is a personal finance. We don't have a trademark, but if anyone else comes out with it, they got it from a Frugal Athlete.
Noted.
PEMDAS. So everyone knows in elementary school, they give you PEMDAS, and this is like the formula to come up with, math equations. You got the order of operations. It's your order of operations.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So the original PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division,
got it,
addition, subtraction. So you got your paycheck. This is your primary source of income. So you have to understand how much you're making to understand everything else. You got to make money. All right. Primary source of income. So E, then you got to understand your expenses, and your expenses ultimately to your emergency fund. You got to know what's coming in. You got to know what's going out. And under expenses, obviously you got your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, and then your emergency fund. It should be 3 to 6 months, whatever. Bam. That's the second one. M, multiple streams of income. It's important because if one goes away, what are ways that you can let your money make money for you? Or what are some ways? Obviously side hustles are really important now, but whether it's investing, investing in your retirement or other things, multiple streams of income, that's really important. And what we don't want to get lost is that multiple streams of income can come from the same stream or the same tree, and build out different branches. So I play professional soccer, but I can also train kids. I can do product reviews. I can do consulting. I could be a ref. I can do digital courses. So that doesn't have to be like, I'm a professional soccer player, but I also drive Uber. So multiple streams of income. That is M. D, diversification. So diversification, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you're investing in real estate, make sure you're investing in other things, whether it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, your retirement, all that, diversification in what you do. A, assets, buy assets, not liabilities. So always think about assets. When it comes to your net worth, assets minus liabilities, that's your net worth. So understand what assets you have and understand what assets you're acquiring. And then last but not least, S, your spending habits, which ultimately leads to your savings goals. So if you don't understand your spending habits, what are your vices, then you won't understand where you need to make adjustments for your savings goals. And that is the Frugal Athlete money version of PEMDAS. So I'm glad that you let me share that space. Yeah. Because with the amount of people that you serve, especially specific to youth, I think that's very valuable. Yeah. As it pertains to personal development, life, soccer, and I love acronyms just because that's how I've been taught. Acronyms and analogies. But this one's the CPR method. So everyone, before you can save others, you have to save yourself. So you got to be consistent. So whatever you do, you got to show up every day and be consistent. You got to be persistent because there's going to be roadblocks and there's going to be blind spots, but how can you be persistent to those? And then you got to be resistant. So, whether it's self-doubt, whatever it is, you got to be resistant. So if you can do those things, be consistent, persistent, resistant, you'll be able to save yourself in any situation that you face.
I need everyone to hold on for a second. I'm going to go run through a brick wall real quick.
Simon's a sucker for a good motivational,
any kind of motivation. Moby, would you mind? I'm sure you probably have a newsletter I could subscribe to, but would you mind just sending me one-off video clips where you just here's the acronym of the day, Simon?
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
If I was as good as if I was as good as I wanted to be with that, I would definitely add that to my newsletter. Acronym of the day.
Do it, man. I love that. I think that's a fantastic idea. And selfishly, I just want to see that now, so I'm going to sign up for that myself.
I'm writing that down as you speak.
Yeah. See, we're
Look at
already
us.
helping.
We provide value. And they said we never could.
They never said that.
No, that's great. And I Also, we're sorry to anyone who the PEMDAS, they're probably going to be in math and they're just going to be reciting that instead of the actual order of operations.
That
one's good.
Just
that one's
as
good.
important.
I like that a lot. So we will definitely be resharing that snippet. So we'll earmark it. But that's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those. I know I have learned a bit as well that I need to, take some inner reflection on, do a little learning. Figure out those spending habits is probably the key area. But
it might be time to actually diagnose like how much money I spend at Starbucks. I've been willfully ignoring that,
reload.
But maybe it's time
you
to
can
actually
just reload. Fine.
My vice is Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. It's too easy. Stuff is just too easy.
It's too easy. Yeah.
Like you don't got to leave. It's just too easzy. So.
Yeah, one click shipping is very dangerous.
Yeah. Now they're doing this like Apple Pay where you don't even have a wallet. You just like, you can pay because you just. It's like, oh no.
That is usually the time where I'm like, if I have to put in a credit card, I'm like, all right, I probably won't buy it right now. But if I just have it in there, it's done. It's already on its way. So awesome. Well, I think Simon, is it time for this or that?
I believe it's yes. We have 8 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And we are going to just pitch them to you. We're going to rapid fire questions. We need rapid fire answers. There's zero thinking involved. There's gut reactions only.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
we need you to clear your mind.
Clear my mind. Okay.
Take a moment. Brace yourself.
All right. First question. Is it pronounced GIF or GIF?
GIF.
Very good.
At the movie, getting candy or popcorn?
Neither. Bring your own snacks.
Love it.
Oh, don't take my advice on that. Sorry.
That sounds like a good spending habit that you nixed.
Popcorn. Sorry. Let me say popcorn.
All right. Appetizer, soup or nachos?
No, soup. Nachos, you never really know.
Yeah. You can have a gazpacho, a cold soup.
Are you going to the lake or the ocean?
Lake.
Would you prefer to play soccer golf or soccer tennis?
Oh, that's a great one. I can't even say both, but soccer tennis. Soccer tennis gets intense.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Which wins out, defense or midfield?
Midfield.
Would you rather win a championship as a coach or a player?
Player.
All right. Finishing up here, whether you're going to watch it or even play in a World Cup title or Champions League title?
World Cup.
Yeah, that one's easy.
Boom.
And
he did it.
And surprise final bonus question.
Bonus.
If you couldn't pick the U.S., who do you think's winning the Women's World Cup?
Oh, that's a great one. I think the home country, Australia.
They're mine too. That's my Sam Kerr. She's unreal.
The Lady Rose. Sam Kerr.
Yeah.
Homecoming. Yeah.
She just can't stop scoring.
It's not. Yeah, they got to score.
It's a good problem to have.
I love this. Oh, that's awesome. Amobi, we can't thank you enough for hopping on and taking the time to speak with us. This has been insightful. It's been very fun, and we really can't thank you enough for being part of this, and especially for being a part of an amazing partnership we have with True Sport. I mean, we like to leave every single one of our interviews. We leave the floor to you. So final words, parting thoughts, motivational quotes, epic slams, giveaways, whatever you have. The floor is yours.
No, thank you so much for what you do. I mean, the impact that you're all making on youth sports, it's really amazing to see. Just being an ambassador for True Sport is a blessing, and I'm trying to use my experience just to highlight the next generation. These are the leaders of tomorrow. So if we can help instill the principles that we both speak about, obviously we have a lot of synergy. That's why we are in partnership. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about. So anyone that wants to connect with me, I know the information will be in the show notes probably, but definitely. Always willing to connect, always willing to, try to make impact, collaborate. And like my last name says, the mantra, okay, you go. So let's reach our highest level.
Love it. Yeah. Obviously, we'll share everything in the show notes, but I would highly recommend going to check out a Frugal Athlete, checking out Amobi on his social channels. If you found anything insightful from today, you will find that following him will give you all of the insights you got today, plus a million more, and a new acronym section in his newsletter. So subscribe to that, and you'll see that soon.
Yeah, coming soon.
It's the acronym of the week. I'm not sure if I could do it of the day yet.
Yeah, that seems to have the week. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
It is good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Amobi. We appreciate you hopping on and taking some time. We'll talk with you soon.
No, most definitely. Thank you so much.
This episode is brought to you by TrueSport, the grassroots initiative of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. It is dedicated to creating and inspiring a powerfully positive youth sport experience for all. Through their educational programs and youth-based initiatives, TrueSport empowers athletes, coaches, and families to promote the development of life skills, character building, sportsmanship, and the practice of clean and healthy performance both on and off the field of play. To learn more about how you can create a TrueSport team culture, be sure to head over to www.truesport.org. Just the amount of knowledge, the amount of wisdom, the sincerity of us like subscribing immediately to that newsletter cannot be overstated. We weren't lying. Yeah.
If you rewind your brain, just 30, 40 minutes ago, we promised that he would deliver. Mm-hmm. And I do believe he delivered.
Absolutely.
Like, without a doubt. That was a
high
fantastic
mathematical certainty that he fully delivered. By the way, you're not getting off the hook here. What is something that you learned embarrassingly late in life? We're not ending this episode early. No, cut out. No, stop the outro music. Troy, no. Stop the outro music.
Troy, please.
Don't do that. What's something you learned embarrassingly late in life?
Let me think here. I actually have one. Something I learned too late in life. I used to say all the time, we'll play it by year versus we'll play it by ear. What the hell what are we playing by ear? What is an ear? Like my ear? I said we play it by year, Like maybe this year we'll do it or maybe next year we'll do it.
Wait.
Maybe this year we'll do it and next year we'll do it. I don't know. That's actually, yes, that is one.
It's like you're okay. I mean,
but what is it?
I'm still questioning how your mind justified year, but
between year and ear, I felt year was just made more sense.
I mean, but play it by ear, you're a band and the basic structure of it. So
I didn't go music route at all. I did not go music route at all. I went time. We'll play it by year.
Interesting.
And the more I say it, the less it makes sense. So let's move on.
No. Stop the outro music, Troy. We're staying on this. No, I want to talk. I'm kidding. No, we can start that back up again. But I
am curious, though.
Thank you,
dear listener.
Yeah.
What things did you learn way too late in life that you are probably very embarrassed by? Yeah. We want to hear about it. We will share them ruthlessly on the episode, though, if you do end up sending them our way. So,
but we will do it. We'll do it anonymously.
In a nice way.
We won't actually call out your name. We'll do it in a nice way for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's start up the outro music.
All right, now we can get into it. And this has been another episode of For the Love of Sport, brought to you by Sports Engine, the home of youth sports. Like I just said, if you have embarrassing things you learned too late in life, you've got fun youth sports stories, you want to celebrate a team, an organization, whatever it may be, reach out to us at ftlospod@nbcuni.com. We would love to hear from you.
For the Love of Sport is brought to you by Sports Engine, the home of youth sports. The hosts are the magnanimous, magnificent, wonderful Marie Fitzgerald and myself, Simon McKenzie. Our marketing guru is Kelsey Irwin. Our wonderful producer is Joe Brzonik, and the exceptional sound engineer, the person who's behind our honey dulcet tones, is the great Troy Stone.
Emmy award-winning.
We will be back with another episode very soon.
We'll see you next time.